Hello students, today we are going to start our part second from lesson number first, transport in plants. Students, in part first you have learned about what is meant by transportation in plants, then how this transportation is going on with the help of the xylem tissue and phloem tissue. Now you have learned about the structure of the root hairs, which are the speciality of the root hairs to absorb water and minerals for the plants. And now students, in this part today we are going to start our first point, that is the nature of semi-permeable membrane. It can be illustrated by the with the help of the diagram. So now students, in this part second we will see that with the help of the diagram semi-permeable membrane. So in semi-permeable membrane, if A side will be the dilute solution, that is the water molecule, and in B side will be the concentrated solution, that is the sugar solution. So through the semi-permeable membrane, only the water molecules can move from A side to B side, means sugar solution, through the semi-permeable membrane. But dear students, from the B solution, means sugar solution, sugar molecules can't move through the semi-permeable membrane to the A side, that is water molecules. Why? Dear students, because already you have learned about the nature of semi-permeable membrane. Semi-permeable membrane not allows the larger molecules. That is the reason only that sugar molecules are larger in size. They will not come through the semi-permeable membrane to the A side. So in that way, with the help of this semi-permeable membrane, we will define what is meant by osmosis. So from dilute solution, the movement of water molecules from the dilute solution to the concentrated solution through the semi-permeable membrane is called as a osmosis. In that way we will get this definition. And now students, our next point about this lesson is the three types of movements of molecules are seen in plants, and the first one is the diffusion. So what is meant by diffusion? The diffusion is the movement of the substances that may be in solid state, that may be in liquid state, or that may be in gaseous state, from higher concentration to lower concentration. That movement is called as a diffusion. And dear students, the water and minerals are absorbed through the root hairs by the diffusion process. The second movement is the osmosis. Osmosis is the movement of water molecules from its lower concentration to higher concentration through the semi-permeable membrane is called as a osmosis. And you have learned the semi-permeable nature is seen in the cell membrane of the plant cell. Now, the third movement of what molecules are the active transport. Dear students, you have learned that osmosis is only for the movement of water molecules. So, the water can be absorbed by the root hairs, it going to the to cell, and then after that it is reaching to the central xylem. Now students, these water molecules are going by the osmosis process. The reason behind that, the concentration of water molecules are more in soil and the concentration in the root cell of that water molecule are lower. That is why it is possible to move from higher concentration to lower concentration through the semi-permeable membrane. But dear students, it is not possible for the minerals. So the movement of the minerals, how it is moving now, dear students? So the concentration of the root cell containing more concentration of the mineral in the root cell and the less concentration of the mineral in the soil. So how the movement will go now, students? Lower concentration to the higher concentration, because soil containing lower and root cell containing the more. So when the absorption of the mineral is there, So their lower concentration to higher concentration, and due to that movement only, that movement requires the energy. Movement requires the energy, and this is the active transport. How will you define this active transport? The movement of substances from its lower concentration to higher concentration needs energy, that is called as a active transport. So dear students, here we completed the three movements of the molecules in the plants. First one is the diffusion, second one is the osmosis, and third is the active transport. Now our next topic is the ascent of sap. So now dear students, what is mean by ascent of sap? Sap, you have learned that. Sap means, always remember, it is solution form. And here which is the solution? Always remember, water and minerals we called as a here sap. So now we have to define how this ascent of sap is going on. So you have learned about that. Water and minerals are absorbed by the roots, and then it is going to cell, and then up to that it reached to the central xylem, and xylem are only for conducting the water and minerals. These tissue are helping. So from that lower part of the roots to the upper part of that, so movement is going on upward direction. So the movement of water and minerals downward to the upward direction, this process is called as a ascent of sap. And here sap means the minerals and water. Minerals are present in soil, water is present in soil, that absorption is going on by the roots. So dear students, here we completed about the ascent of sap. Now students, how this movement is going on upward? Question is there. So that topic we will learn now. Root pressure. How this pressure is created, how the ascent of sap is going on through the stem to the each part of the plant. So now our next topic is the root pressure. Yes. With the help of the figure, I will explain about the root pressure. You have learned that water get absorbed by the roots by through the osmosis process, and it is going on continuously cell to cell. Due to the continuous inflow of the water, there is created a pressure, and that pressure we called as a root pressure. This root pressure is developed due to the continuous inflow of the water by the root cells, and pressure is created, and this pressure is helping to the water molecules to reach to the central xylem, and then it pushing, this root pressure is pushing the water molecules and minerals to the upward direction to the stem and the leaves up to the certain height. The leaves also want the water, stems also want the water, so every part of the plant where the water is essential, up to that water is reached by the root pressure. So the root pressure is also the one contribution force for the ascent of the sap, means upward movement of the water and minerals up to the certain height. Now the next one is the transpiration. Dear students, you have already learned what is meant by transpiration. Continuously water absorption is going on by the cell. So by the process of osmosis, cell to cell continuously transpiration is going on. After getting the water into the root cell, it goes to the central xylem, then it go to the xylem vessel, and then conduction is going on through the stem and to the leaves. But dear students, the all water is not used by the plants. Only, dear students, all water is not used by the plants. Certain amount of water is important for the photosynthesis process and the growth of the plant. Excess water get evaporated by the process in the form of water vapor by aerial part of plant, that is called as a transpiration. Transpiration is the loss of water in the form of water vapor through the aerial part of the plants. That process we called as a transpiration. So dear students, Due to this transpiration, there is a creation of the force that we called as a suction force. Suction force is created in the xylem vessel, and through that only the water is to be pulled. Due to the suction force, water to be pulled from xylem in the roots to the stem and the leaves of the plants. In that way the force is going on. And dear students, this force is also called as a transpirational pull. When the height of the trees are more than 100 meter or 100 meter, this transpirational pull is very important for the conduction of water and minerals. So, because of that water having the property to joint with each other and they attach to the wall of the capillary tube. Due to that only water is reached to the 100-meter height or more than 100-meter height, because the xylem tissue are in the capillary tube form, and where the narrow diameter is there, more absorption of water and minerals is going on. So due to that only, second one is the transpirational pull is only one cause for the conduction of water and minerals. First one is the root pressure, second one is the transpirational pull. So in that way this transpiration is helping. Now students, some factors are also affecting to the transpiration rate. The first one is the daytime. You have know that about. During the daytime stomata are open, and due to the stomata are open, the transpiration rate is very faster. They diffuses carbon dioxide from the atmosphere for the photosynthesis process. But at night time stomata are closed. Due to that only the transpiration rate is reduced, means hardly occurs. The second one is the temperature. You have know that about the temperature is more in hot season. So during the hot season the transpiration rate is very faster. Transpiration is going on very faster. Third one is the wind. When the wind is fast, the transpiration rate is fast, because whatever the surface area transpiration is going on, that process is become very faster due to the wind is blowing faster. The fourth one is the humidity. When the air is humid, so that time the rate of the transpiration is reduced. Why? Because air already contain the water molecules, and that is the reason. Due to that, when the transpiration process is there, air cannot hold the water molecules. So this is the reason about the humidity. So students, there are four factors are there for the affecting the rate of the transpiration. Now, how this transpiration is important in the plants? Our next topic is that only, about the importance of transpiration in plants. The first important is the cooling effect. How the cooling effect is given to the plant by the transpiration. Plants absorb water continuously. After that it get evaporated in the transpiration process, and by this evaporation process, when the water is turned into the water vapor, so during that process heat is required, and that heat is given by the plant itself. And when it given plant itself, that heat is called as a latent heat. Due to that only the plant itself become the cool. Due to that reason only. Dear students, when there is hot outside, then also the plants are remaining cool inside. This is the reason behind that. Second important, due to the transpiration process, there is a maintaining of the concentration of sap in the plant. Due to continuous water absorption is going on, so what will happen? The continuous water will come inside, so the sap, whatever the mineral and water sap is there, that will become the dilute. Now, what are the uses of the water in plants? So water is helping in plants in three ways. First one is the transportation. How in transportation is helping? Water and minerals are transporting by the xylem tissue, and in photosynthesis process food is prepared in the form of glucose and then it is stored in the form of that starch, that is the sucrose, and when it is carried by the phloem it is in the solution form. So the conduction is going on, transportation is going on with the help of the water. Second importance of water in the plant is the food production. In photosynthesis process, two important reactants are there. The first one is the carbon dioxide and second is the water. So for the food preparation, by photosynthesis process, water is important constituent. And in the presence of chlorophyll and sunlight, the food is get prepared. Third is the cooling effect. The heat utilized when water is transpired from the surface of leaves in the form of water vapor induces a cooling effect. So dear students, you must have experienced that standing under a tree on a hot summer midday gives you a cooling effect. Why? This cooling effect is not entirely due to the shade but also due to the loss of water from the surface of the leaves by evaporation. Since evaporation produces coolness, it makes the air cool and the cooling air being heavier tends to settle down and makes the surrounding pleasant. Due to the water only there is the transpiration process is going on. So dear students, these are the uses of water in plants. And water is also important for the plants. Like that, minerals are also important for the plants. Water and minerals also absorbed by the roots. So now we will define what is mean by minerals. So these minerals are the important nutrient elements that are absorbed by the roots for the plants for its growth well and complete their life cycle of the plant. And there are two important nutrients are there. They are categorized into two parts, macronutrients and micronutrients. Macro means large amount. The nutrients are necessary for the plants in large amount, that we called as a macronutrients, and the nutrients are necessary for less amount for the plants, that we called as a micronutrients. With the help of one chart, students, I will explain about which are the macronutrients, how they are necessary, and which are the micronutrients, how they are also necessary. So macronutrients and micronutrients for the plants. The first one is the macronutrients, and the first macronutrient is nitrogen. What is the role of this nitrogen in plant? Nitrogen is major constituent of all proteins, and major deficiency symptom will see if nitrogen not proper. Yellowing of leaves, wrinkling of cereal grains. Second is the phosphorus, constituent of cell membrane and certain proteins. This phosphorus, and if it is not there, the deficiency is purple and red spots on leaves, delay in seed germination. Seed germination process will take the more time if phosphorus will not get properly to the plants. Third is the potassium. The role of potassium in plant: more abundant in growing tissues, involved in the opening and closing of stomata. And deficiency, poor growth with reduced rate of transpiration. These are the three macronutrients: nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium. Now micronutrients. The first one is the iron, constituent of some proteins. This is the role, and if it is not there, the symptom, yellowing of leaves. Second is the manganese. Manganese is having the role, constituent of some enzymes, and if it is not there, symptoms, yellowing of leaves with grey spots. Third is the zinc. Zinc is the major constituent of plant hormones and activates enzymes. And the major deficiency symptom is D-shaped leaves, yellowing of leaves and stunted the plant growth. So dear students, here we completed our part second of the transport in plants, and here we completed our first lesson, transport in plants. Thank you.